how many of you willingly went on one? Okay, I assume the rest were forced to go on a diet.
Well, I never thought about it.
You never thought about it. Maybe you'll think about it today.
It was a present for my wife.
Okay, it was your present or her present? Your present to her. Okay, great, great. Well, I didn't always want to be a nutritionist. I was happy going about my own life. I had, my major was public relations, and then I did marketing, and I was ready for getting a regular job and starting my life here in Bahrain. And then I got ill, and I was told by the medical industry to go home and put up with the symptoms that I had. And I hated that answer, and I went and I Googled my own remedies, and I discovered nutrition. And I fell in love with it, and I got better, and I feel much better today than I did more than 15 years ago. And I decided to, maybe if I could help myself, maybe I could help others too. So I decided to completely change careers, and it was a very big decision for me, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it at the time or not. But I'm glad I did, now that I look back. And I changed careers, and I studied to become a nutritionist. And 5 years later, I'm a nutritionist, and I'm giving advice to people. And then I wrote a few books, and then I'm here. And I'm talking to you about your health now, because maybe it can help you like it helped me. And I'm hoping that you won't have to go through the same cycle that I went through, where you're pushed into it. So when people ask me, why did you choose nutrition? I say I didn't choose it, it chose me. And I was kind of shoved into that field, but I'm in love with it now, and I'm very passionate about it. As Noor said, I have a few books, I wrote a few books. Again, it started with just me writing down notes and handouts, and then it became a book, and then it became a radio show, and then it became a consulting office. And now this is what I do. I run workshops, I do consultations. I do consultations with corporations, with all kinds of organizations and academies. And we try and improve the health of the country, at least one person at a time. And my goal is to reach the whole region, hopefully, because there's not enough people who are doing that in this part of the world. So the most interesting thing that you might not know is that it's very interesting to be a nutritionist in Bahrain, because if you're a nutritionist anywhere else in the world, then people leave you alone. When you're a nutritionist in Bahrain and you're at a wedding, for example, people do stare at your plate, and they do want to know what it is that you put on your plate. You do have to look the role, and I've had people say, oh, I would never go to an overweight nutritionist, for example, so I'm glad you're not overweight. And you think, okay, take that down, note it down. But even here, you know, people do care about what it is that I was going to put on my plate. And people panic when they see me in the supermarket, honestly. And, you know, I'm just pushing my cart and doing my shopping, but they run into me, and all of a sudden they start justifying everything that they have in the cart. I wasn't even looking, but they feel they need to do that. And I think this is a kind of part of our culture where, you know, it's part of who you are, because Bahrain is very small and everybody knows what you do. So if they run into you in the supermarket, they're in trouble, or they think they're in trouble at least. And, you know, at birthdays, for example, mothers feel the need to justify to me why their child is having cake. And I get comments like, for example, you only live once. You know, I hear this a lot. You only live once. Don't you want to just enjoy your life? And I think, okay, I would enjoy it better if I wasn't sick, because I am enjoying it a lot more now that I'm not sick. And I was feeling horrible at some point, so I am enjoying my life. Or I hear comments like, for example, don't spoil your children's life by not offering them whatever they think I should be offering them. And you know, it's just funny. So you just listen to the comments and you think, okay, this is what goes with the territory. But what's interesting is that I never used to be a nutritionist, and I know what it's like to be on the other side of that life, you know. And I stopped listening to those comments anymore. I don't bother. It doesn't bother me. And what I do now, I do have a goal of improving the health of the people in the region. However, I believe that I will only make a difference in somebody who's ready for change. And there's a very interesting saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And maybe, just maybe, you had a question about health at some point, and maybe this is why I'm here. I don't know. So before I bore you with the details of what it is that you're supposed to do, what do you think is the biggest question that I get as a nutritionist?
How do I lose weight?
Yes. Yes. See, I didn't even have to ask anybody else. This is the question that I get asked all the time. How do I quickly lose weight? And this is what they want me to say. They want me to say, there's this magic pill, and it's just on the market, and I have it with me right here, and you're the first person to take it, and you go home, and it takes 3 hours, and it should do the trick. And that's not what I say, obviously. And what I say instead is that it's an intricate balance of body, mind, and spirit, and you're not supposed to just mask the symptoms. You're supposed to find the reasons why you got sick in the first place, blah, blah, blah. And then you see people losing interest as I start saying that. And you see their eyes rolling as I start saying that. So before, I don't want to go into the details of the technical details of how it is that you can lose weight quickly. But what I do want to ask you is a very interesting question. When you look in the mirror, what does the voice inside your head tell you? Volunteers. Looks great. Any other examples other than looks good? Honestly, I know the voice is already in your head and it's already telling you that. Sorry?
I want to be better.
I want to be better. I ask this. Sorry?
Look and feel younger.
Yeah, but how does the voice sound when you're standing in front of the mirror? Sounds miserable. Honestly, no, I ask this to a lot of people, and the question, sorry? Tonight you'll find out. Yeah, I think men maybe need to listen a bit more carefully to the voice in front, or maybe men don't look at the mirror, I don't know.
That's all we do.
That's all you do, okay. What's interesting is that I ask that of people all the time. And you hear things like, if we weren't maybe in a public setting, people would tell you what their voice tells them. And you'll hear things like, you look fat and ugly. You look like a cow. And these are real quotes that I've taken from people. What have you done to yourself? Look at you, you've become old and fat. And if you notice that the voice always talks in the third person, it's always talking, in the second person, it's always talking to you. It's almost like it's talking at you. Even though you're looking at yourself in the mirror, it's always talking at you. And we call this the superego, and we also call it the internalized parent. So it's almost like your parent telling you that you look horrible, or you look ugly, or you're not doing enough with your body, or look at what happened to you. You used to look good. I hear that a lot as well. You used to look good, and now look what happened. You. And this is the internalized parent inside us, and the ego that's talking to us and always putting us down. And once we become aware of that, we realize that there is something inside of us, some part of us, that is very conscious about the way we look. I had one of my clients once, she came and she said, I've tried everything, I've tried all the diets, I've tried going to the gym, and I'm coming to you, and this is my final step, and if you don't help me, I'm doing the surgery next week, weight loss surgery. So I sat with her and we talked about the superego and the voices in her head and what they tell her in the mirror. And then I said, do you think the surgery that you will do will get rid of those voices? Because there is no surgery in the world that can get rid of those voices. Because when you do surgery, or when you go on a quick, fast diet, then what you're doing is you're just masking the symptoms. And you're just putting a plaster on it. And you're not really addressing the real issues that got you there in the first place. And people do it all the time. We're just masking the symptoms. So if you want real change, permanent change, that will change your body, but will also change your mind, and it will also change the chemical balance that you have, that will make you stop those voices or will make those voices positive, then it has to be a complete lifestyle, food and diet change. Okay, so for today, because I had a very short time, I thought I'll give you a secret plan. Okay, and the reason it's secret, it's not because nobody else should hear about it outside of the room. It's because when you go on the secret plan, you're not supposed to tell anyone that you're on this plan. Anybody know why?
Because they'll ruin it for you.
Yes, thank you very much. Because I don't know if this is just a Bahrain thing, but people tend to sabotage your efforts to lose weight. As soon as you say the magic word, I'm on a diet, they say, why? You know, just eat this. Today we have all these cakes and I made this myself. And I watch people do that all the time. And you know, it's funny when you start, you know, watching human behavior. They find they have the need to take you off your diet. And they feel a certain gratification, maybe, I don't know. But maybe when you say you're on a diet and you're improving your life, maybe their own voices are saying, look at him, he's doing it, you're not doing it. So if I spoil it for him, then I don't need to do it anymore because he's not doing it either. And that's why it should be a secret. And I'm not kidding about this. And I've tried this and I've told people to go on a diet announced and a diet unannounced. And the ones who were on a secret diet, quote unquote, were the ones who were successful. Because even the people that care about you, you'd think it's just people at the dinner party or at the wedding, but it's not. It's sometimes even your spouse can feel threatened by the fact that you might lose weight next week. Or feel threatened by, sorry.
2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I'm finishing. So the 5 minutes and until your ideal body. So the secret plan, 5 things. Number one and 2 I'll bunch together, is you have to control the release of insulin. Insulin is a hormone that's inside our body, and it's released when we eat sugar, and it's released when we eat starch. And starch is nisha in Arabic, and it's in bread, pasta, and rice. As simple as that. When you eat sugars, any desserts and sugars, and anything with starch, your body will release insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone, so basically it tells your body to take that meal and store it as fat. If you don't have insulin, then the chances of you storing that meal as fat are much, much lower. As simple as that. So 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, that's all I'm asking. No sugar, no starch. Silence. The second, shocked.
Starch is in?
Starch is in rice, bread, and pasta. Yeah, things that are very starchy. Number 3, so sugar and starch. Potatoes are fine for the 2 weeks that you're doing it for. It depends on how long you want to go further. Number 3 is you have to cut down the hormones. You know, every time we go through a fat stage, quote unquote, that means our hormones are shifting. So when you go through puberty, your hormones have shifted, you gain weight. When you go through pregnancy, your hormones have shifted, you gain weight. Menopause, same thing. So every time there's a hormonal shift, there's weight gain. So if we can control hormones, then we can control weight. We have natural hormones inside our body, but where do you think we're getting hormones from the diet? Quick.
Dairy.
Dairy, yes. Dairy products. The cow is making those hormones specifically for that baby cow, so that that baby cow doubles in size within a very short period of time. And we're taking those hormones on a daily basis, and we are doubling because we're not growing anymore, so we are doubling sideways. So sugar, starch, dairy. Number 4, exercise. And there is no weight loss plan that goes without exercise. Sorry, it's not included in that pill. And you have to find something fun that you like doing. You know, there's a saying that says we don't get old because we don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing. And there's very few people who are now doing the sports that they really genuinely enjoy. And people who do enroll in something they enjoy will stick with it. And the last one is that you have to analyze yourself. Every single person in this room is at the moment on autopilot. You are going in a path, and you're not even watching what you're doing and where you're going. So this is me giving you a wake-up call and say, stop. It's not where you want to be. It's not where you want to be in 10 years' time, because the direction that you're going is not ideal. So this is the wake-up call. Analyze yourself. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And are you on the way to get there or not? And this is very, very important. I watched an episode by Oprah once, and she was saying that on her 50th birthday, she looked back at her 40s, and she realized she spent all her 40s waiting to lose weight. And then she looked back at her 30s, and she realized the same. She was waiting to lose weight all her 30s, and now she's 50, and she discovered that she hasn't lived the past 20 years. So this is me urging you to start living. We all want to start living, and if this is on your to-do items, bring it up in the priorities. And I know you're all very busy people, and there's another saying that's very interesting, that's saying we spend our health trying to collect wealth, and then we spend our wealth trying to gain back our health. Thank you very much, and all the information is here. If I'm running a weight loss course exactly about that topic, so if anybody's interested, there is some registration forms and information here. And you can go to the website as well, aliaalmoayed.com/weight-loss. Thank you very much. If you eat yogurt,
amongst people that don't eat yogurt daily,
yeah,
80% better chance of losing weight.
There's a lot of research that's going back and forth about that. I would check the research about that, and it's probably sponsored by a dairy manufacturer. Unfortunately, I have to say this, a lot of research out there that proves things it has to have been sponsored by somebody. Dairy has a lot of hormones, so it would not help you lose weight.
Past President Joseph.
The sweet and low sugar,
yeah,
is it equivalent to sugar towards the pancreas?
It's not equivalent as sugar. It will not go through the same cycle. That's a very good question. It will not go through the same cycle. However, it's full of chemicals, and it will give you a whole load of other problems. So you can try stevia, for example. At least it's a natural sugar that will not make you gain weight. It doesn't, yeah. Nothing like the real thing, yeah.
Thank you very much. Just one quick question. I have on and off been on something similar to the Watkins diet, high protein, no carbohydrates. Would you call that a short-term solution or a long-term solution?
The Atkins diet is yes, high protein, low carbs. However, in the Atkins diet, they mention carbs, which includes fruits and vegetables and everything. I would say long-term, concentrate on starches, not all carbs, because all carbs are beans and pulses and fruits and vegetables. They all have carbs, so starches. But what I usually recommend to people is, it depends where you are. If you want to lose a lot of weight, the quickest way to do it is to cut out all starch for 2 weeks. If you feel you want to go on a medium rate, then cut it out of 2 meals and keep it in one. And if you do keep it in one of the meals, keep it in the morning meals, so that it burns by the time you sleep at night.
Past President Hussein Ismail.
Thank you very much. I think you mentioned about keeping your blood sugar low.
Yes.
Now, we need to be careful not to go too low. So how will you be able, what is your advice to be able to control this without having side effect of dizziness and things like that?
Very good question. It depends if you have diabetes. Of course, if you have diabetes, then it has to be supervised. However, people think that they have to eat sugar to keep their blood sugar levels balanced. And what your body does is it will turn whatever it needs into sugar for energy. So if you say, let's say you don't eat sugar at all for the next 2 weeks, whatever meals you do have, even if it's beans or soup or whatever, it will be converted into sugar in order for you to keep a balance. You will not need to have the actual sugar. So your body will do the rest. You just eat healthy, and your body will adjust to the healthier plan. And you will lose weight very quickly. It's very effective. Anything else?
So, now the time.
Up to you.
One last question.
Yeah, I remember this circle of 5. Are you now cutting out one of the
The
5
pyramid,
slices?
you mean?
Yeah, or a circle.
Yeah, the food pyramid is very old school, I have to say. It's very outdated. It's still taught, but it's very outdated. So, yes, I am cutting out one of them. Yeah, for weight loss. It's specifically for weight loss. It depends what age you are, depends, but in general, for weight loss, you cut it out temporarily, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.